Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, I'm bringing you guys Week 12 wide receiver rankings for fantasy football in 2020. Inside this video, we are going to be going over my top 32 wide receivers for week number 12 of the 2020 fantasy football season. If at any point inside this video you end up having a great time, you end up enjoying, make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below, because not only is it free, I put out content every single day to help you guys win that 2020 fantasy football championship. And if you're not new, if you are just someone who's always here, I appreciate you. And please make sure you leave that like button to help my video get more views so that more people can eat some W's just like their names were Jameis Winston. And real quick, before we get into it, I'd like to give you guys a quick word from my friends and my sponsor over at OverlayDFS.com. OverlayDFS.com is my favorite place to play daily fantasy sports on the whole World Wide Web. On Overlay DFS, they have this simple game called the Matchup Shop. It's so easy, anyone can do it, and I am pretty successful at doing it. Matchup Shop. So all you got to do is pick one player out of all these. You just choose. In the matchups, there will be more open, obviously, on Sunday. Justin Herbert or Josh Allen? Who scores more fantasy points? Josh Allen -4 or Justin Herbert +4? Who scores more fantasy points? Cam Newton +5 or Kyler Murray -5. It is that simple, and you can bet any amount you want. You can go anywhere from $1 all the way to, I think, $3,000 is the max bet, so you can do whatever you want on here. OverlayDFS.com. You guys do so much research all week to win your matchups, so why not get some extra cash on the side on OverlayDFS.com. And we are back. Let's get into it. Wide receivers 1 through 12. We begin with my wide receiver 1 on the week, Davante Adams versus the Chi-Town Bears. Now I know, Nick, the Chicago Bears defense is good. Nick, don't you know that? I understand that the Chicago Bears defense aren't a cupcake matchup where Davante Adams is going to be able to put them into a chokehold, but I still think that Davante Adams is going to go absolutely ham up against the Chicago Bears. Davante Adams is the best wide receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. Now, obviously, there are other wide receivers that are great as well. Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf. All these guys you can name. Maybe the better wide receiver, Julio Jones, could be the best wide receiver in the NFL. I understand that. But in my opinion, this matchup up against the Chicago Bears screams murder by the hands of Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. I love Adams this week. And number 2, we have DK Metcalf at the Philadelphia Eagles. DK Metcalf has been unreal this season. This matchup up against the Philadelphia Eagles will be nothing but great for DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf has been reliable thus far this season. Sure, he's had a few down games where Tyler Lockett just absolutely skull fucks the defense, and DK Metcalf kind of just watches as it occurs. But a majority of the time, we're seeing DK Metcalf curb stomp defenses. I like him at number 2 this week. And number 3, we have Keenan Allen at the Buffalo Bills. And if I know one thing, it's death taxes Keenan Allen 7,000 targets from Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert throws the ball to Keenan Allen like it's his job. And guess what, folks? It fucking is. Up against the Buffalo Bills, whose defense has looked deflated as of this year compared to what we saw last season. So Allen is going to be able to get sprinkled with targets. I like him at number 3. At number 4, we have D-Hop at the New England Deflatriots. Obviously, going up against Stephon Gilmore is no easy task. This is going to be the, what is that hairstyle called? The dread off. D-Hop's dreads versus Stephon Gilmore. Which dreads will win? Probably going to be DeAndre Hopkins. I expect him to go 9 inches deep in the New England defense. He's a must-start. All these guys inside the top 12 are just must-start guys in your lineup week in, week out. At number 5, we have Tyreek Hill at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tampa Bay Tom Brady. If we have seen something this year, it is that Tyreek Hill is a freak of fucking nature. Now, we already knew Tyreek the Freak Hill was one of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL, if not the fastest, one of the most talented wide receivers in the NFL, but he has elevated himself up even higher thus far this season, in my opinion. He is the focal point, one of the focal points of this offense, considering they have Travis Kelce, who's also a focal point. This whole fucking team is beautiful, constructed beautifully like the fucking Mona Lisa. Tyreek Hill up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is going to be a back and forth affair in which both teams are throwing a lot. I like Hill. At number 6, we have Stephon Diggs versus the LA Chargers. Now, if we know another thing about football this year, it is that the Los Angeles Chargers defense sucks cock. They don't even do it like bad, they don't even use a little bit of teeth, so maybe they stop you sometimes. No, they're full on giving you the gawk 3000 fucking dick suck supreme. They're that bad. That defense is god awful. And what I do know is that Stefon Diggs is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. We've seen it this season. We've seen Josh Allen be on fire. So I like Stefon Diggs at number 6. And number 7, we have Tyler Lockett in my pocket. There's a Lockett in my pocket. Skirt at the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, Lockett has had those down games. I understand. He's been down bad in a couple of games where he does absolutely nothing for your lineup. But it is near impossible to sit Tyler fucking Lockett up against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles defense isn't all that great. Russell Wilson, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, if not the best. Lockett is a lock inside the top 10. At number 8, we have Calvin Ridley versus the Las Vegas Raiders. And Ridley has been amazing. When healthy, amazing this season. Julio Jones, I'd say, is probably 50-50 if he plays or not. He is a game-time decision, which means right before the game, they watch him, run. They're like, oh, Julio looks good. Or they say, Julio, I mean, we don't want to fucking ruin the rest of your career, so we'll sit you down. It's going to be one or the other. I'm not too sure which one it'll be, but what I do know is up against the Raiders, Calvin Ridley is in for a big, big game here at number 8. And number 9, we have Michael Thomas at the Denver Broncos. Now, Thomas got force fucking fed by Taysom Hill last week. I think this one may get out of control, kind of just like that one where Michael Thomas isn't seeing a zillion targets because they're up by a million and they'll probably just run the ball. But I do like Michael Thomas. Obviously, he is back and is good to play with Taysom Hill. At number 10, we have Justin Jefferson versus the Carolina Panthers. Now, sadly, Adam Thielen has the big Rona, so he is not going to be attending Sunday's matchup up against the Carolina Panthers. But who will? Rookie sensation Justin Jefferson out of LSU. This man's been going absolutely crazy. Him and Adam Thielen have been tag teaming defenses all season long. And this week without Thielen, I think Justin Jefferson goes ham up against a bad Panthers defense. At number 11, we have Deontay Johnson versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this game is definitely in jeopardy. Shout out to Alex Trebek. Rest in peace. But with that said, is this game going to get played? Genuine question. Do they play? I don't know. I have no fucking idea if they're going to end up playing this game on Tuesday. I don't know. I'm going to assume they will because the league will go and do everything they can to play this game. So I think Deontay Johnson ends up suiting up, and I think he goes crazy up against the Baltimore Ravens. At number 12, we have CK Cooper Kupp versus the San Francisco 49ers. We've seen Kupp play really good last week up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This week, he gets an even worse defense, one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Due to injuries, they were actually one of the better ones, and then they just fell like Humpty Dumpty off his fucking wall. So Cooper Kupp, I like this week at number 12 up against the San Francisco 49ers. Now into wide receivers 13 through 24. So if you guys have ended up enjoying thus far, please make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. At number 13, we have Allen Robinson at the Green Bay Packers. Now, Robinson would be inside the top 10 in my opinion because I don't love the Green Bay Packers defense, but 9-inch Nick Foles is now going to be playing. It's going to be Mr. Kissin Titties Trubisky. And Trubisky and Allen Robinson just did not get off on the right foot or the fucking left foot at the beginning of the season. They just weren't looking like they had an amazing connection, which we have seen in Allen Robinson and Nick Foles. They're like 4G fucking LTE connection, whereas Mitch Trubisky and Allen Robinson are like 3G fucking connection. Not that great. So I like Allen Robinson here. I think he'll do fine despite the quarterback play, but obviously not as good in my opinion as if 9-inch Nick Foles was starting. At number 14, we have A.J. Brown at the Indianapolis Colts. A.J. Brown has been a fantastic wide receiver this season. Last week, there was like 3 dudes trying to tackle him, and he went full-on grown man. It's like if a bunch of 6-year-olds were to jump on you and you just keep walking. But A.J. Brown did this with 3 NFL players. Just put him on his back. Darren Sharper, hold my dick, walk straight into the end zone. It was beautiful. It was magnifique. A.J. Brown going up against the Indianapolis Colts is a tough matchup, no doubt. But what I do know is that A.J. Brown is good enough to overcome the challenge here at wide receiver 14. And number 15, we have Chase Claypool versus the Baltimore Ravens. Again, I expect the Steelers to just fucking absolutely go to Pound Town against the Baltimore Ravens, in my opinion. I think this one is going to be a murder. I think Big Ben fucking throws the pigskin all over the yard, and Chase Claypool lights it up yet again. This man has 10 touchdowns in 10 games because he is built different. Arguably the best rookie in the class. At number 16, we have Robert Woods versus the San Francisco 49ers. Robert Woods, a.k.a. Bobby Trees, smoked some trees up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week and played very well. Now he's got an even better matchup up against the Niners this week. I like him. At number 17, we have Wiki DJ Moore at the Minnesota Vikings. Now, DJ Moore this season has been good, and bad at the exact same time. He has these games where he lights it up when he's on your bench, and when you play him, this motherfucker is just bad. Like, terrible. Like, you shouldn't, like, unstartable, right? Where he scores like 7 points. But then when you start the motherfucker, or when you sit the man, he just goes off. He literally looks like Jerry fucking Rice out there or something. With that said, the matchup up against the Minnesota Vikings is good, and I expect Moore to play well, considering he played well last week. But then again, once he plays well, then you start him the next week, then he fucking sucks. So that's what I have to say about DJ Moore. Number 18, we have CG, Chris Godwin versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, I expect this game to be a back-and-forth affair between two of the better teams in the NFL. I think Chris Godwin gets it done just like he did last week up against the Los Angeles Rams. And number 19, we have Mike Evans versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, these three wide receivers, typically two of them are going to do good on a weekly basis for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Which two is it going to be? Likely Godwin and Evans, but I still think AB is definitely worth a start this week as well. Mike Evans is going to play well in this matchup, in my opinion, but a lot of his points are heavily centered around him scoring a touchdown, so you really need him to score a touchdown to kind of finish inside the top 20 or maybe even the top 15 in fantasy football this weekend. Number 20, we have Julio Jones versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, we don't know if Julio's going to play. Again, he's a game-time decision. Like I talked about with Calvin Ridley, if he plays, maybe he's a decoy. Maybe this changed. So make sure you guys check into the live stream on Sunday morning. We talk about these kind of things that are happening. Does Julio play? If he suits up, are we comfortable with starting him? Those kind of things. So I'll let you guys know more about that on Sunday morning, obviously. But as of right now, if he plays, I'd probably end up playing him in my lineup. At number 21, we have R.A. Robbie Anderson at the Minnesota Vikings, the Slender Man. Now, Robbie Anderson he started off on fire this year, just murdering defenses, and then as of recently, he just hasn't been good. So I don't know what to think about Robbie Anderson, but I got him as a top 21 wide receiver because I like the matchup. Number 22, we have Juju Smith-Schuster versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, as I'm recording this video, I got even more news. It seems like more fucking players are testing positive for the big Rona in this Pittsburgh versus Baltimore game. So does it even happen on Tuesday? I am not sure. If it does happen, though, I like all three wide receivers. Now, one of them typically will disappoint again. It's so hard. It is fucking Viagra hard to have three wide receivers produce on a weekly basis. It just is. It's kind of like how in Carolina, fucking Curtis Samuel lights it up half the time, and then Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore somehow do bad. So Juju Smith-Schuster, I like him this week. He's been playing quite well, but then there's those games where he gets like fucking 4 catches for 30 yards, and then you see him on TikTok doing a fucking dance. You did nothing, Juju. You motherfucker. And number 23, we got Tyler Boyd versus the New York Football Giants. Now, it is not going to be Ryan Finley at the helm for the quarterback position this week. It is going to be Brandon Allen, which is a unknown for Tyler Boyd. We saw Ryan Finley last season throw the ball to Tyler Boyd. Right? We've never seen Brandon Allen throw the ball to Tyler Boyd. So how involved is he up against the Giants is a not great matchup. The Giants defense actually has looked pretty confident as of recently. So I think Tyler Boyd is worthy of a start. But again, I could see him blowing up and just absolutely demolishing the Giants defense. But I could also see him blowing his load directly on your face after you start him. At number 24, we have Michael Pittman versus the Tennessee Titans. Michael Pittman is one of those kind of players that is very, very good as of recently. He's a rookie, and he didn't really do much for the first, 9 games of the season. Just was non-existent, really, for the team. Now, he scored, I understand, earlier in the season. He played all right, but he was never a guy, hey, you know what, I want to start Michael Pittman. But now, after 2 great performances in a row, I'm going to feel confident firing him up here up against a bad defense in the Tennessee Titans at wide receiver 24. Now into wide receivers 25 through 32. So again, if you guys have ended up enjoying, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Number 25, we have AB Call God, Antonio Brown, A Bizzle versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And Antonio Brown has been solid. He never really had that Antonio Brown game, though, thus far this season. Could it happen up against the Chiefs? It definitely could. Could it happen any week? 100%. Antonio Brown's one of the more talented wide receivers in the NFL, in my opinion, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, but he just doesn't get enough looks, in my opinion. And when he is wide open, right? Last week against the Rams, this motherfucker is social distanced from the corners, and Brady just misses him deep, which sucks because his deep ball just isn't as good anymore, and Antonio Brown is a deep ball specialist. He's just wide open half the time. So I don't know how to feel about AB. I feel like he'd be better if it was Jameis Winston, to be honest with you, instead of fucking Tom Brady. But obviously, Jameis is a New Orleans Saint. At number 26, we have Christian Kirk at the New England Patriots. Now, Christian Kirk is a start of a guy where you play him and you're hoping for the kaboom, and when you get a fucking nuke in COD Zombies, kaboom. But Christian Kirk, that's what he is, right? You throw him in the lineup, and he scores a touchdown and 100 yards. Or you throw him in the lineup, and he gets like 4 catches, 40 yards, and you're like, okay, that was all right. He could definitely kick you right in the cock and balls, though, if he doesn't end up scoring a touchdown. But as of recently, he's been on a touchdown train, so I like him here at 26. At 27, we have DP, Devontae Parker at the New York Football Jets. Now, my only worry is the Dolphins get up bigly on the New York Football Jets. I'm talking they fuck them, dick them down in the first half of the game, and then they start running the ball. I definitely feel more confident in Parker this week with Ryan Fitzmagic at the helm, but then again, Fitzmagic does Fitztragic things, which is just throwing like picks and doing all types of dumb bullshit. So Devontae Parker is going to be an all right start for me this week, not ultra confident. 28, we have Jerry Jeudy, JJ, versus the New Orleans Saints. I like Jerry Jeudy here, but the issue is not with Jeudy. It is with horsecock Drew Lock, starting quarterback of the team. Some games, Drew Lock looks like a fucking amazing quarterback. Other weeks, he looks like he has no idea how to throw the fucking football. So, against the Saints, not a great matchup, but I do think Jerry Jeudy will be fine. At number 30, we have Curtis Samuel at the Minnesota Vikings. Curtis Samuel has been, for some reason, very good recently. For some reason, not even anywhere near the best wide receiver on the team, but he gets a lot of the balls thrown his way, so I'll fire him up here at 29. At number 30, we have Jakobi Meyers from 3 versus the Arizona Cardinals. Jakobi Meyers was on a heater, played bad last week. I think he bounces back and looks all right this week up against the Cardinals. At 31, we have Titty Boy T. Higgins versus the New York Football Jets again, or the New York Football Giants. Again, this is a matchup that we have no idea what's going to happen. Does Brandon Allen love T. Higgins? Does he love Tyler Boyd? Does he love John Ross, the sauce boss? Does he love any wide receiver on the team? I have no idea, and we will see on Sunday. So I got Higgins at 31, but if this was with Burrow, he'd probably be in the top 20. At number 32, to close that, we have Darius Slay Queen up against the Cincinnati Bengals. Darius Slayton, the Bengals defense sucks, but Daniel Jones makes these dumbass plays that screws you over. So I like Slayton as a deep ball potential and a guy with a lot of upside this week up against a bad Bengals defense. So thank you guys all for watching. If you did end up enjoying, please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. I love each and every single one of you motherfuckers. I can't wait to see you guys later in another banger of a video. I love you all. Have a great rest of your guys' day. As always, stay safe. OverlayDFS.com. Good boy.